My name is Ramazan Kılınç. I am an associate professor of political science and director of Islamic studies program. In this project, my students interviewed refugees from the Middle East to complement their classwork, which was about government and politics of the Middle East. In this project, we collaborated with Refugee Empowerment Center. It's an Omaha-based organization focusing on resettlement of refugees. It was established by refugees from South Sudan in 1997, but it gradually became more inclusive. Now, it serves to refugees from all backgrounds. In this project, my students interviewed refugees from the Middle East and produced a number of materials out of those interviews. We have transcriptions of the interviews with the refugees. We have student reflection papers that include refugee stories and narrative of how refugees help the students learn about the Middle East. And more importantly, we have 3-minute reflection videos that are ready to be consumed by the public. I will show you a 5-minute video that includes selections from student reflections.
Overall, my experience in interviewing a refugee from Iraq, as well as learning from the interviews that the rest of my classmates conducted, it reminds me and shows us that all of these refugees are people who just want a safe life for them and their families.
I realized that refugees have 3 things in common, regardless of where they're from. 1. They would return home if they were able to. 2. They all want democracies in their home countries. And 3. The price of most likely never seeing their country again or the family that did not flee with them is worth paying to ensure the safety of themselves or their family.
My interviews help to contextualize what I have learned and read about the Middle East into perspective. I was able to expand on my knowledge of how these authoritarian leaders and dictators use these cults of personalities, even in minor ways, to increase loyalty and stop revolts. I had a greater appreciation for the privileges in my own life. The hardships I've had are nothing compared to what these people have endured and still go through.
It also made me mature as a person. It was very humbling to sit across from someone who's lost their sister and niece to a bombing. Their wife has lost their place of employment and was actually put on a watch list to be imprisoned by the Syrian government for speaking out against them. And just knowing and looking at them and trying to humanize that and make sense of that and be a reality, that was very humbling for me.
I learned that even when I feel things are tough for me or that I want to give up, and that I should just keep going forward, because what I go through is something very minimal compared to what refugees have to go through. They have to leave their home and everything behind and start over from zero. They go to a place where they don't even know the country, they don't even know anyone, and they manage to keep moving forward and continuing with their life. They just look ahead with a positive mindset and know that everything is alright, that they don't have to be scared anymore, that they are safe.
So it's difficult to relate to the struggles that these people face or have faced when you've never had a conversation with them or met them face to face. There's a human connection which we're lacking when all we see about refugees in the news is numbers on a map. And I think that human connection is something that I gained through this experience. I came to understand that the person whom I interviewed had a life not so different from my own, and just because she lived in a place far away doesn't mean that her problems weren't real. And it's easy to say, oh, well, of course her problems exist, but you don't understand the magnitude of those problems until you actually talk to them. Even if you can't truly understand the difficulty that faced them, you can appreciate them for who they are and how far they've come.
Academically, my interviews led me down the path of researching more about my interviewee's homeland and made me recontextualize the conflicts in the Middle East. It also really enhanced my understanding of the various regimes and the ways that the internal struggle in many countries has impacted their interactions with other nations and dramatically reshaped the lives of their citizens. Not only did the interview prompt me to do some of my own research, but I think this also worked as a case study to encapsulate many of the major issues we covered in class, giving us more tangible accounts on the themes of colonialism, ethnic divide, alienation, and how narrative can be used to shape our understanding of the world around us. In summation, my interview has really given me more perspective on the issues refugees face and has made me more interested in getting involved and helping out the refugees in my community.
It put world events into a personal perspective for me. It really gave a personal connection.
What I learned as a person is that being able to speak about politics and being guaranteed your own life are not granted for everyone. So I thought refugee problem is one of the big problem in the world now, and international community has to take this problem very seriously and deal with it.
For refugees now, I view them as sort of like heroes in a way for coming to us like this and telling us their stories and letting it be known how it is going in their country, and the bravery that they have too for even coming to talk with us and for telling their stories is just amazing, and it's very admirable, and I admire them a lot.
I'll be honest, when I was younger, years back, I always was thinking, why did these people not stand up? And through these interviews, I learned that they did stand up. They do stand up. But exactly that makes them refugees oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes. And I gain tremendous respect for that. And it is easy to judge somebody if you don't know their background or anything about them. And I think I have overcome that. I'm grateful for that.